Well, hey, book lovers, welcome to our double book release. We are so incredibly excited because my fabulous friend Elle Beaumont and I both have new releases today. So we're hanging out celebrating. We're going to do some book reading. We're going to give away some prizes. We're going to hang out. And the more you chat with us, the more likely you are to win some fabulous prizes. So whether you are live with us right now or you're joining us on the replay, you have a chance to get some fabulous prizes today simply by commenting below. This will go until tomorrow. So the more you chat with us, the more likely you are to win. Elle, how are you doing today?
Great. How are you?
I'm excited. We have our book release today. And we have done some book releases together before for our anthologies, but this is the first time we've each had individual books out together at the same time. So I'm really excited that we get to kind of do this festive little party. If you're here live, let us know that you are here and that you are excited for book birthdays today. Tell us, how should we be celebrating down in those comments below. Elle, I know you've got a book out called Hunter's Truce today. Can you tell us just a little bit about that?
Hunter's Truce is actually a Big Bad Wolf and Three Little Pigs retelling, but it's not told how you know it. It actually follows the Big Bad Wolf before his Big Bad Wolf title came around. It follows Niklaus, and it starts off with his family, and you get to see how he interacts with his family, and inevitably his mother is slain because she's a werewolf. And the three pigs sit on the throne, and they aren't stopping how the werewolves are being slaughtered in the kingdom. So the Big Bad Wolf is made, and he comes knocking on the Three Little Pigs' door and gives them 3 chances. And yeah, he's an assassin. You know, that's a fun twist.
It is a fun twist.
Yes. So, and he just might butcher some pigs. So we
You use such harsh words there.
Well, you know, he is a butcher in the story. Initially, he is a butcher, and that is his job. He butchers pigs, and I thought that was like a fun little twist to it.
It's a fun little tagline. Like, we're just going to toss that out there.
Yep.
Yes. Like Hunger Games, lots of death in this one. Just
Oh, there is. You know, he's an assassin, and it shows how he actually gets trained as an assassin, and it follows him as he becomes known as the shadow that the kingdom murmurs about.
And if you guys have not read it yet, make sure you are picking up a copy. I have read it. Great story. You guys are going to love it. And it's got a gorgeous cover. I know that you guys can see it on screen, but Nell, can you hold that up for us? It looks even prettier in person. It really does.
It really, really does. Like, everybody that has seen this, that has come to my house, they just go, oh my gosh, that cover. And everybody, even online, you guys don't see just like the splash of colors like in person. Everybody is raving about that glorious cover that K.m. designed. So yeah, if you want a beautiful cover like this, hit up K.m. She does all my covers.
Yes. And so we've got this really amazing book. It is out today. This is actually part of the Blood from a Stone Twisted Villains anthology, which, oh, yes, I did put it behind
Yes, I do have it too.
Oh, yeah, you. Look at that. So prepared today. And so it is now released as a standalone. You guys can read it right now. My book out today is also from an anthology. It is The Goose Girl and the Artifical. It is a Goose Girl retelling. And so if you have not heard the story, I do recommend that you go check it out because it's kind of an interesting read. Also a little on the horrifying side because there's some decapitation in it. But it is a very interesting story. And then when you compare it to my book, you actually see a lot of the similarities, but with an advanced technological twist to it. So we've got our Princess Gosalyn, who is sent off to form a treaty with a foreign prince and king. And that's part of her training to eventually take the crown. She and the prince both have to create this treaty together to eventually get the crowns from their parents when the time is right in the future. And so along the way, Gosalyn's artificially intelligent handmaiden actually steals her identity. And so she poses as the princess and makes the princess pose as a robot handmaiden. And the goal is to kind of destroy this treaty. And eventually it's to kill everybody. It's a thing. And her cousin, her real life human cousin, is controlling this artificially intelligent robot, and she has to figure out a way to save everybody without telling people what's going on, because that will result in the death of her mother, the prince, the king, all sorts of horrible tragedy. And so we get to go through this story, and it's very interesting how it goes along with the original story, but it has that advanced technological twist to it. And so this is now free from the anthology, and it is available for you guys. And I am a big fan of the cover, which I also designed, yay me. And it's actually from the story. So if you can see my necklace, this is my medallion. It is on the cover. And this is a big part of the storyline because her artificial has actually stolen that. And that is the thing that protects her from the robots taking over. So when she steals that, she has no protection. And it's just kind of an interesting story. So
I loved it. I loved it.
Of course you loved it. You were the one who told me to write it.
I did. For anybody who doesn't know, KM had to last minute rewrite, or actually didn't rewrite. She had to write an entirely different piece because somebody had a similar piece. And she was like, I don't know what to do, Elle. Throw something at me. And I don't know if anybody knows this, but I am like a huge folklore fairy tale buff. And I was like, I don't really see my favorite retellings out there. My favorite fairy tales out there in retellings. And I said, you have to do Goose Girl. You have to read this. It's really
and I hadn't even heard of it at that point. So
I don't know how. It's one of my favorites. And I was like, you have to rewrite this. I'll help you. I'll do whatever, but you have to redo this. So
that's why I sat there and I'm like, oh, decapitated horses with heads mounted on walls and talking after death. This is going to be interesting. How do I not decapitate an animal in this one? Robots. Ta-da! It was a fun. Oh gosh, it was definitely interesting for sure. Hey, if you are joining us live and you have questions about either of these books, we would love to hear from you. Go ahead and drop your questions down below. And if you're on the rebroadcast, you can still ask your questions. We will be jumping in and answering your questions in the comments. But if you have something that's so good that we have not answered online, or we feel like it's way, way, way too good to just answer through a post on Facebook, we will totally jump on and answer your questions on a new live broadcast for you. So go ahead and hit us up and let us know what you would like to know about Hunter's Truce and the Goose Girl and the Artifical. And let us know, how should we be celebrating today? Elle and I have had a lot of book releases between the two of us. We've done all the different types of parties. We've done all the different types of celebrating, and so we need some new ideas. Let us know, what should we do to celebrate our book releases today? We would love to hear from you. Let us know. And I know, Elle, that you're excited, just like me, because we're doing some giveaways today. So what do you have that you're kind of sprinkling out there for people?
Okay, so I have, let's get ready for this. I have an ebook copy of Veiled Allurement, which is my Cinderella retelling, and it follows Faye, the goddess of light, when she's kicked out of the heavens by her evil sisters, and she has to learn to cope with the mortals and fight her way back to the heavens. So that is giveaway number one, that the more you comment below, the more gifts you get. And of course, today's, sun is shining on that right now. It's like, Hunter's Truce ebook. Of course, this is what the star of today. So if you comment below, one of you is going to get an ebook copy of this. And then lastly, the one that most people are excited about happens to be a gift card, a $5 gift card to Willow Ridge Candles, which is my candle shop. I also make soaps and chapstick. So if you aren't a fan of candles for whatever crazy reason,
calling me crazy? It's not that I don't like them. I'm allergic to them.
You like candles, though. Aside from like the whole, yeah. I know you do. So you're not crazy. You know, so
unscented candle.
Yes. So you guys can win a $5 gift card from Willow Ridge Candles. And that is just, you can redeem that in either my Etsy shop or my main shop. So comment below And you guys can win those 3 gifts. KM, what are you giving away today?
I was gonna show off your chapstick. I have my Jack chapstick here, only I also have a pile of jewelry sitting here, which is tangled in my computer cords, and I don't want to mess up my computer stuff, so I can't pick it up. I have no idea where it was. I literally took a pile of jewelry and set it there because I was organizing it. Because if you look at my, you guys can't see it right now, but I actually have some jewelry trees hanging on here for all of my bookish jewelry. So I was organizing them. I didn't get that far, and I have no idea where it is.
Yeah, I thought maybe I had some. I don't. I just cleaned off my little landing area.
Crazy.
But yes, imagine chapstick right here. That is
beautiful chapstick. It's wonderful. She does a great job. She made chapstick for the Revolution of Jack Frost and for the Golden Trilogy for me too.
I did. And for those who actually sent me, it's over now, I'm sorry guys, but those who actually sent me their pre-order receipt, they actually received wild blueberry chapstick that I made especially for the Hunter's Truce release. So yay for that. Everybody is raving about that chapstick because it is inspired by a scene in Hunter's Truce with blueberries. So
and hey, if you are hanging out, you have a chance to win all of those fabulous things. And for me, I am giving away an ebook copy of The Goose Girl and the Artificial. I'm also giving away a copy of no. Oh, that's bad.
No. No.
You guys can't see it, but my stuff fell.
Timber.
Okay, moving my plants. I've got this darling plant here that almost fell and broke. All right, let's try this again. Now that I've moved everything. So you get a copy of Goose Girl. I'm also giving away a copy of Sugar Coated. This one will make you sob. Sorry, guys. And I am giving away a copy of Virtually Sleeping Beauty, which is my Sleeping Beauty retelling. I guess I should have explained that. Sleeping Beauty is trapped inside of a virtual reality video game, and the prince has to go into the game and help her wake up in the real world, except she outranks him, and so she can take care of herself, and he's just the eye candy. And then Sugar Coated is my Hansel and Gretel retelling about the witch, who is not actually a villain. She's Hansel's girlfriend, and she is sneaking 13-year-old assassin Gretel into the Mad King's palace inside of a Trojan cake to assassinate him, so he stops destroying their country. So lots of fun there, and we are giving away ebook copies of those, so the more you comment, the more likely you are to win. So Ellie, I know that you said you were going to do a little bit of book reading. I have no voice today. Yep. A little bit of an allergic reaction going on here. So I will not be reading today, but Elle is going to go ahead and read the first chapter from Hunter's Truce, and I am going to fix my bookshelves while she does.
Okay, so I'm going to read the first chapter, and I'm sorry because I'm very stumbly over words today, so don't mind me. Someone shook me violently by the shoulders. The sound of my name on their lips seemed so distant, but as my eyes opened, a bright, frantic face peered down at me. "Nikki, wake up, wake up," the tinkling voice pleaded. A groan escaped me as I began to roll over again, fingers trapping the fabric of the blanket. The little demon was trying to yank it off of me. "Don't you dare! Wake up!" A small fist connected with my shoulder, and I quickly sat up, offering a mock glare as the lithe redhead tumbled down on her backside. Liesel, my little sister, offered a scowl in return, promptly sticking her tongue out at me. She brought in the scent of blood. There was always a copper tang slithering through her home, mostly because we lived above a butcher shop smack dab in the middle of Waldorf Village. We didn't always live here, but it had been home since I was 4, and Liesel had been born in this very house. Sleep still clung to me, even stretching out did nothing to shake it. Eyeing my pillow, I had every intention of hugging it and rolling over once more, and yet Liesel had a different idea. She still sat on the floor and shot me an accusatory look. Her round, freckled cheeks were puffed out indignantly, and her yellow eyes darted to the door. "Well, are you going to sit there, or are you going to spit it out?" I questioned as I tossed the blankets off of my figure and went about making my bed. "It's my first hunt today, Nikki." She sighed heavily and stood up. "Wolves, that's what we are. Werewolves, to be exact. Supernatural predators in the world. Today happened to be Lisa's 12th birthday, 2 years overdue for her first hunt with our small pack, but there was a reason behind it. One our mother was never keen on elaborating, but of course I knew. No, it isn't, I teased her and began to walk past her. She was tiny for her age, and where she was round in features like her mother, I had all sharp angles. However, we shared the same eyes, freckles, and red hair. Niklaus, are you teasing your sister again? Mother called up the stairwell. I shot Lisa a look and arched my brow before I ruffled her long red hair. Yes, but she knows it, I retorted. You should anyway. Do you think I'd forget your birthday, Lily? I bent over and scooped her up into my arms, twirling her around. 4 years separated us, and I still remembered the day she came into our lives, wriggling and tiny. Well, come down here. Lou needs a hand in the shop. We'll leave after you're done. Lou was the man who graciously welcomed us into his home. Long before he and my mother became an item, he saw a pregnant woman and her son in need. He didn't know what we were, and yet he welcomed us, gave us a place to rest our heads and food to fill our belly. When he discovered what we were, he didn't seem alarmed. Waldorf had always held strong ideas and beliefs in regard to our kind, even though wolves ran rampantly through the kingdom of Abendrot. The humans always believed this village was somewhat of a sanctuary for their kind, as if we were all ruthless creatures, as if the kingdom wasn't founded by our species centuries ago. Pigs sat on the throne now, selfish, greedy pigs. Coming! When I released Liesel, she darted by me and hopped down the stairs 2 at a time in a manner that one could describe as sprightly. My mother pulled her short, cropped hair back in a swath of cloth before she bent over to tend to the food in the oven. The scent of apple pie wafted through the house, and it mingled with the scent of blood and death. Since the butcher shop sat so closely to the house, the scent could be unbearable in the summer months. However, as we grew, our noses opted to become blind to the stale fragrance of death. Ma said you needed some help, I called out and stepped into the room. Laid out on the table, a half-butchered pig glared up at the ceiling. For a moment, I simply looked at it and found my hand reaching for a nearby cleaver. Never once did I shed a tear or even flinch as the life fled from an animal's eyes. I was born different, so my mother said, and I knew a part of me was missing. A grunt came from Lou as he strung up some sausage links. Did she now? Sure. Finish that pig off, will ya? I've got to get the smoker. Lars will be coming in to pick up that order any time. He jerked his head toward the door and slid out the back. Methodically, the cleaver became an artist's tool, cutting and slicing through meat and bone until all that remained of the pig was its ugly head and hooves. Those wouldn't be discarded. We didn't believe in waste. Some people thoroughly enjoyed pickled pig meat. They weren't on top of my go-to list, but they weren't bad either. The bell on the door tinkled when it opened. The sound of heavy boots falling on the floor made my attention snap to it. My fingers were finishing the ties on the last wrap portion of meat. He's outside, was all I said. A grunt came from Lars as he lumbered his way toward me. His hair was salt and pepper, eyes an eerie shade of hazel. Short, stocky, he wasn't as tall as me. Lars also wasn't keen on me, and he never was. Not that I really cared. Go get him. Shrugging a shoulder, I piled the meat carefully and looked at him squarely. A smile formed on my face. No, I began. He's busy and I'm here to what, exactly? I don't trust you. I don't like it. Your mother should have... Red spilled into my vision. My knuckles turned white as I gripped the edge of the counter, 2 seconds away from jumping it, but I reeled myself in. It would do no good to chase off one of Lou's customers. Lars muttered something under his breath. Human ears would have missed it, but I wasn't human. Not at all. I hopped the counter in a swift motion, curled my fingers around the collar of his shirt, and slammed him against the wall. You can hate on me. You can say whatever you'd like about me, but leave them out of it. No need to tap. There was no need to tap into the beast that lay beneath my skin. The point was clear. Lars must have realized his error, and the fact he was spitting hate when a cleaver was inches away from my grasp. I would have gladly chosen my fists over a knife any day. It was more gratifying feeling the snap of bones when your knuckles connected to flesh. You were the devil's spawn, he spat out, his eyes flicking toward the knife. It was clear that he was warring with pushing me over the edge. A wolfish grin pulled at my lips as I looked down at him. Papa sends his regards. Pay up and be gone. Easing up on him, I moved to the side and motioned toward the counter where his order was. I didn't feel inclined to help him, but I did feel inclined to take his money and shove it into the drawer. Lars's face looked as if it would burst, it was so red, which pleased me to no end. I waved my hand at him to leave. Blood flecked my skin from carving up his order. Moments later, Luke came back inside, his brows lifting in question as he looked at me in the empty room. Lars came already? Soap coated my hands as I washed them in the basin. My back turned to Lou. I simply nodded and watched the white suds turn to pink as the blood ran off. You going with your ma and sis? Finishing up, I grabbed a hand towel. Of course. It's dangerous out there, and besides that, it's Liesl's first hunt. He knew what we were, and yet he didn't care. It was a testament to how good he was. Lou could have been afraid. He could have viewed my mother as some demon spawn, but he didn't. Instead, he not only welcomed us into his home, he didn't bat an eyelash at what we were either. He was the only father Liesl ever knew, and it was better that way. His face became unreadable, top teeth biting down on his lower lip. Be careful out there. The hunters have been out in full force. It was well known the humans hunted our kind. It was easy enough to differentiate between a wolf and a werewolf. Werewolves were the size of a large pony with shaggier hair, intelligent, otherworldly eyes, and our howl was deeper. There were poachers who dedicated their lives to taking out werewolves. And though it wasn't outright illegal, it was highly frowned upon. One of the many things the crown had never seen to, those filthy pigs. Liesl chirped by my mother's side, beaming up at her. Almost done, guys. Don't worry. I am so excited, she whispered, but her body shook with glee. A hum coursed through the air, tension as thick as a cord, not the kind that set any of us on edge, but it was all of us honing in on our senses. It wasn't safe here, not in the village, and so we wound our way down a path until we met the thick woodlands. The pine trees stretched toward the sky and peppered the earth so thickly that it gave the woods a claustrophobic feeling. The sun was blocked by evergreens, and in between sturdy oaks as well as bramble. And in between the sturdy oaks as well as bramble ensured that only stray fragments of light entered. Ravens perched in the trees protesting our arrival. They could sense it in what we were, natural predators, and it went against their instinct. Initially, the change was uncomfortable, especially the younger you were. But as werewolves aged and grew, it became a seamless process. Bones shifted, skin stretched, and rearranged as we took our other form. Instead of 3 red-headed humans standing, there were werewolves. My mother and sister nuzzled me, and I shook my head. Simply because we were wolves did not mean we lacked intelligent ways of communicating. We could speak through our minds. Are you ready to tear into your first hide, I asked my sister, tongue lolling out of the side of my mouth. Her small red figure vibrated with euphoria, and instead of yipping, she let out a small whine, knowing better than to alert the woods that we were there. In spite of this being her first hunt, Liesl knew how to stalk her prey and how to move so the pads of her paws absorbed sound. I had shown her the best ways, after all. Are we ready, my lovelies? Mother asked. Flicking my gaze to Liesl and then back to my mother, I cocked my head to the side. Readier than Liesl. A joke, of course, because my sister had been counting down the days until this hunt. Nonetheless, she nipped a tuft of my fur as punishment. Beyond that thicket, we maneuvered. A clearing came into view, and with it, a gift of a young buck. Easy enough for one of us to take down given our size, but this was Liesl's first, and my mother and I would only be there as support. Liesl would be taking the kill as a trophy. Nick, you know what to do, and I'll only say this once. Do not take your sister's glory. She shot me a look that left no room for an argument, as if I'd steal Liesl's glory. On cue, Mother and I spread out, trapping the creature in the clearing while Liesl crept up from behind. Mother and I went wide to the side, letting the birthday girl do most of the work. We were there for support, and if she needed another pair of snapping jaws. But this was her moment. Liesl crept forward, using the cover of the woods as she approached the unsuspecting creature. Its ears twitched, but it continued to graze without pause. My muscles twitched as I watched a few opportunities slip by, and just as I was beginning to think that she was overwhelmed, she moved into action. She began to move wide, too, and went around the backside, right in the animal's blind spot. and when she was ready, she pounced into action, leaping at the buck's haunches. White fangs snapped at the flesh, finding purchase on the thick muscle, and the buck swung his head as he began to kick out. She lost her grip on him as he launched another kick, his head swinging toward her with antlers primed for attack. A snarl left me. The only thing cementing me in my spot was my mother's grumbling from a distance. Liesel dodged a blow to her side and quickly recovered before she launched at a leg, chomping down on the slender limb. She tugged and ripped her mouth away before doing the same to a hind leg. Each time she injured the buck, and each time he grew more tired. She wore him down until he was ready to flee. His legs gave out from under him, and Liesel let out a victorious yip before she launched on top of it. Proudly, she began to feast on his soft belly. And there you have it.
It's not letting me come back on screen.
Hold on, guys. Cam's coming up.
So let me see. There we go. Wow, that was really hard. I had to go solo by myself and then bring you back. That was really weird. Sorry. Apologies, guys. Apologies on that. But that was the first chapter of Hunter's Truce. And if you would like to read The Goose Girl and the Artificial, you gotta do it yourself because I don't have a voice today. That is very true right there. No voice today. But you can check it out. Sorry, guys. I told you. You can check this out on your own. This one's not very long. These are both novellas, but this is more like a novelette because it was inside of an anthology that had very low word count. So it's a fast read, which we're really excited about. And hey, if you're having fun, if you're enjoying this, we need you to do us a favor. Jump down into the bottom of the screen and hit the share button right now. That tells Facebook we're doing something awesome and that they should be showing this to more fabulous people just like you. And when you show it to more fabulous people just like you, we actually have the opportunity to do more fun things here on our book launch parties. But also, Elle and I are co-hosts of a show called Young Adult Edition. It is a weekly bookish talk show every Monday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on Facebook.com/k.m.robinson where we are bringing on new bookish guests. We're bringing on authors. We're talking about bookish topics. We're talking about new releases and book world news every single Monday. We hope that you will come check us out. We are currently on hiatus for the rest of 2018 because we just had our Christmas party yesterday. And we will be coming back at the very beginning of January in 2019. So make sure you check it out right here, Facebook.com/k.m.robinson and hit the share button on the party to let everybody know that you are having fun hanging out with us right now. Elle, I want to know, if you were dropped into the world of Hunter's Truce, how would you survive and who would you befriend in order to survive?
If I was dropped in there, now are we assuming that I'm human or am I a werewolf?
We're assuming you're human.
Okay, I would definitely stay on Nick's good side. That's who I'd befriend. I would go into the butcher shop and just become his friend because it's a safe bet to say that as long as you're his friend, you're under his protection. He gets very protective of friends and family, so that would be a good way to survive.
Does Nick take on friends that aren't assassins, though? Like, I feel like you would have to kind of benefit in some way.
Definitely he's hard to befriend, so it kind of has to be like in his network. So you're not wrong, but I think if it were the right person coming into his life, he would definitely and end up befriending them against his wishes. So
I feel like if I were going to be dropped into your book, I would befriend Liesel and then
yeah. That is true because anybody that means something to Liesel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel like she's more like, let's be friends than he is.
I know, but like, I think me and Nick would get along really well, even though he's really, during my reading, he's different. He doesn't feel things like anybody else does. He's a sociopath. I'm just going to say it like it is. He is a sociopath. He doesn't feel emotions like a normal person does, which makes becoming an assassin very easy to do. But he does care about the people in his family. I think that I would either really get along with him or I'd really hate him. But if I wanted to survive, I would have to befriend him.
You have to. You would.
Because he's not going to spare your feelings, and I'm sensitive, so I think
That is a good point.
Yeah, like I think if I was friends with Liesel and then ended up befriending him, I think that you're right. That would be the way to.
I feel like that's the smart way to do it because, like, if the sister likes you, you're automatically kind of under his protection because he doesn't want to see her hurt if you're hurt. But then you can kind of like work your way and he's more likely to accept you. Because I feel like otherwise he probably would shoot first and ask questions later.
Yeah, basically. Because with the kid, the royalty on the throne and everything. All right, that's not really going to spoil anything. He would have no issues taking out the king. He wouldn't care. He's giving them chances only because the king has 2 daughters, and that goes against Nick's moral code, if you want to call it a moral code. That's the only reason. Yeah, he doesn't.
Rules. He has rules.
No. What does Pirates of the Caribbean say? They're more like guidelines.
Yeah, there we go.
He has guidelines. There are things that he won't do. Mothers and children, he doesn't do that. But anything else goes. And he absolutely cannot stand men. So it's like the king has a lot going against him.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And what about you? Would you survive the Goose Girl world? Or how would you survive?
Well, I mean, for the most part, it's not all that hard to survive because there is that very clear definition between humans who are in charge and are protected from the artificially intelligent robots that work for them. But because that cousin has taken over control, they no longer have control of all of them. So in certain cases, people are protected. The king, the prince, they're mostly protected because they have their necklaces, their keys. And those can stop and prevent artificially intelligent people from hurting them. But Gosselin does not have that. So if I were to be dropped into this world, for the most part, I would be okay-ish. But if I got close to Gosselin, that could be a problem. If I was close to any of the royals, that could be a problem for me because I have no type of protection to keep these robots away from me. So my best bet is definitely going to be to befriend either the prince or the king because they have the most power to help me out here. Gosselin and I would get along pretty well. She's pretty inventive in her ways of trying to survive this particular world that she is dropped into, but she's not going to be my best bet here. So I'm going to go hang out with the king and with the prince, and between all of us, we'll probably all be okay. Probably, maybe.
Now, how would you befriend the prince or the king?
I don't know. I have no idea. I would help with the treaty. That's what I would do. I would give him ideas for dealing with the princess, who's actually our artificial Arta, and I would help him figure out how to deal with her before he knows that it is the switched positions of the two, Arta and Gosselin, the princess and the artificial. So I would have to help him in his little quest to get what he believes is the princess to cooperate. And at that point, he would be my best friend if I could help him out with that. Otherwise, I don't know, it would take a little work.
So you would be on the council. If you were dropped in there as a role, you would be on the council.
Yes, they don't have positions like that, but I would create one. Make yourself useful. Yeah, create your own job title. It's a great thing.
I think that all right, I'm gonna spoil something. Because I have like this written up, and because I love all of you guys, eventually Liesel ends up working at a candle shop, and it's called Nimblewicks. And I would totally be a candle maker with Liesel. I think I would own the shop, and Liesel would end up working for me, and I'd kind of be like a surrogate. Not a surrogate, well, yeah, surrogate mother for her. Not that I could replace Heidi, but I would just kind of take her under my wing and be like that big sister, big mom. And Nick would have no option but to take me under his wing because I'm taking care of Liesel and Liesel loves me. And yeah.
There you go. I think that works. That works very well. I'll wait for you in your candle shop since I can't enter.
Now, if you were dropped into Hunter's Truce, how would you survive?
I'd befriend Liesel. Like,
Well, I
not
mean, like, what would your job of employment?
I don't know. What does Liesl do aside from like take care of her brother? I haven't met older Liesl yet. I don't know.
She ends up working at a candle shop. She's a candle maker, but
I can't go into a candle store, so I do something adjacent to that that helps her. I sell ribbons. I sell the ribbons to go around the candles, or I sell the jars to put the candles in. I sell something that helps her in her job, so she has to frequently come see me to get stuff for the candle supplies. That is what I do.
well, there you go. See that? You could make that. You could blow glass. You could make. There you go.
Yeah. I'm down for that. That works for me.
Artistic and pretty fun. I don't know if you've ever seen glass blowing, but it is really cool.
It is really cool. I would probably fail miserably at it, but it is really cool.
I know. It'd be it's like a worm.
Like, I'm reading a book and blowing the glass. Oh, what is that shape? I'm the artistic glass art person.
Yeah, like that's not a snake, it's a vine, and it signifies life. And
I would get really inventive about the ways of explaining it too. Like, this reminds me of the princess's hair when the wind is blowing, and
that would be great. That would be great.
Yeah, right. Okay, so how would you survive Goose Girl if you got dropped into it?
I think that I would be working with not the geese, because that's like way too close to Goslin. But I would do something like managing the animals or taking care of the animals that are there, because that's my gig. It's what I do.
There you go. There you go. You're overseeing the entire animal area, stable area within the palace. Works for me.
And then I could befriend the prince because he comes in and everything, and then run and hide when the drama starts in the bar.
That's true. You could run and hide, and then you wouldn't have to deal with any of it. Like, how do you survive this book? You just avoid the drama.
You just run and let things happen. They figure things out.
The royals handle it. It's not your job. You don't need to deal with that. They're fine.
I just take care of animals. That's all. Like, I saw nothing. Like,
no, didn't say a thing. Not a clue. Sorry,
guys.
guys.
And I'm the boy that got struck by lightning in the first snow. I saw nothing. I can't see anything.
Guys, that's a reference to yesterday's Young Adults Edition Christmas Party episode where we were talking about classic stop motion Christmas movies from back in the day. Watch it if you want to get the joke.
That's right.
Oh, goodness. Well, hey, guys, we are just about at the end of our time for our fabulous book release party. If you've got any questions or comments for us, go ahead and drop those down below, and we will make sure that we get back to you just as soon as we see your comments. And we are celebrating today the release of Hunter's Truce and the Goose Girl and the Artifical. We're incredibly excited for you guys to be joining us for this. If you want to do us a favor, grab our covers off of Goodreads or Amazon and take a Bookstagram photo and tag us in it over on Instagram. We would love to see what you come up with. Make sure you are hitting us up at k.m.robinson books and at l.beaumont books on Instagram to show us your beautiful artwork. Before we go, Elle, let everybody know where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at l.beaumont books, and you can find me on Twitter at l.beaumont. You can always find me on my website, which is l.beaumontbooks.com, and YouTube. I have some unboxings, interviews, and stuff like that. You can find me at l.beaumont there.
Fantastic. And you can come hang out with me over at k.m.robinsonbooks.com. You can also hang out with me at k.m.robinson books on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, YouTube, and IGTV. Tons and tons of videos, lots of content behind the scenes. There's artwork. There's interactive choose your own adventure games, all sorts of fun, fabulous things, and we cannot wait for you guys to come check that out with us as well. Thank you so much for joining us for our double book release today. Hunter's Truce and The Goose Girl and the Artifical are now available. We are incredibly excited to be releasing these to the world. We hope you guys enjoy them. Leave us some review love over on Amazon, BookBub, iBooks, Barnes & Noble. That helps us so, so, so much if you leave it on those 4 main sites. So if you could do that for us, we would love you forever. Make sure you're grabbing your copies of these today. Available everywhere books are sold, both in paperback and in ebook. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Have a lovely rest of the day, and we will be hanging out on Instagram to show off the fabulous books over there as well. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Bye.